This is Rating Descending.
where we watch IMDb's worst 250 movies so you don't have to.
I'm Michelle St. Clair.
I'm Abigail Ward.
And this week we watched Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin try to keep their relationship together even as they must stop Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy from freezing Gotham City. Let's watch. Well, I mean, this week, look, I'll just get right into it. This week we have a guest. We have Shane Anderson on again.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hello.
Ow.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is a treat.
So now you asked to be on this episode, like 2 years ago? Like ages ago.
Yes, and asked is the gentle way. I begged as soon as I found out it was on the list, and I was shocked because it's one of those ones where I didn't expect it to be on the list, and then I'm like, I'll just go down because I was on the website. I'm like, oh, Batman and Robin, and my first thought is, no, it's not one of the worst movies ever made, and then I was like, I have to be on this episode.
Yes.
The fact that you did it 2 years in advance. I mean, most people don't plan a wedding in 2 years in advance. You know, I planned my wedding in like 5 months, and you're here prepping 2 years in advance for this episode.
Oh yes.
I have to know what draws you to this film. Why this film?
Well, in some ways, I've been prepping my entire life.
For this moment? My God, we're not going to live up.
Batman and Robin for one, it was kind of that, and Forever were the two Batman movies I saw first. It was my first ever exposure to Batman. And this is a really common thing. If you ask gay men my age, like me, most of them are far hotter than I am. If you ask gay men my age, a lot of them are going to talk about how Batman and Robin was their sexual awakening. In particular, Chris O'Donnell as Robin. In this
No
one.
way!
Not even kidding. It is really, like, I thought I was the only one. And it's one of those things, and you two would both know this, is that when you've discovered your sexuality, you've articulated it to yourself, and then you sort of travel back. Every time you remember something, you're going, oh, that thing that I felt at that time, that was the gay. That was the gay happening.
Yeah.
And then you travel back and you realize, and you sort of almost like an archaeologist digging into all your life experiences and realizing how many of them were you being gay and reacting to something.
The gayness is what we call it in clinical terms.
And this is, as far back as I can go, this is the earliest, oh my God, I see that's what I'm attracted to, that's hot, you know. And this is the earliest one. Before that, I can't find any movie before that I had reacted to like that. Whereas this one, and at the time, you're like, this is cool. I want to be them or something like that. You know, I want to be some buff, chiseled action hero kind of guy.
I'm sorry, wait, Shane just made these movements that looked like he was giving dual hand jobs when he was saying buff and chiseled.
Well, we aspire to that as well. It's one of those ones where I genuinely enjoy it, and like, at the time as a kid, I loved it because it's a wacky kids movie. And then as an adult, I came to realize that a lot of people did not like this movie, but I still loved it. And I was like, why is that? And then you realize once you fully articulate, it's because it's like the gayest movie, the gayest superhero movie you've ever seen in your life. And and that's why I'm responding to all of these elements. Like, he knew what he was doing when he had the butt shots, like top, front and center, you know.
100. It is such a camp film. And I want to say, like, straight off the bat, I do not get why it is on the list either.
Yeah.
Because I'd never seen it before, and I had such a wonderful time watching it, specifically because of Uma, and because of Arnie, and because of how camp and fun it was. To be honest, for me, it felt like one of the first. I'm not a massive superhero movie person, which means I haven't seen a lot of them, but this felt like one of the first Batman adaptations where I could really get a sense of what the comics probably felt like. And I really liked that about this film. So I frankly had a great time, and I don't get why it's on the list either. I think it's bullshit.
I know why it's on the list, and it's we can go into it later on when we sort of talk about the production, I guess. But it's sort of on the list for the same reason that, like, a lot of people don't like The Last Jedi, is that it pissed off the right people, if in a way. Sorry, I just lost train of my notes.
Oh, he's got notes.
I do. I brought
Again, more
notes.
prepared than us.
I have notes.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
yeah.
Why don't you have notes?
It's all up in here, baby. It's all up in the old... This thing is priceless. It's worth more than my phone. This thing is the magic that's in my brain compared to my stupid notes app.
But now I have to keep all of this.
But it's like what Abby said, is that for me, when I saw it, I was like, because the whole concept of Batman to me is silly. It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's a guy who dresses up as a bat and he's like cavalcade of carnival villains that he just refuses to murder. Like, there's Mr. Freeze is a real character from the comics. Poison Ivy and you know, they're ludicrous. And so this movie to me is like doing that.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it in the trivia and stuff or when we're talking through the movie, but there's a lot of the things that a lot of people sort of didn't like or thought were stupid or bad puns, which are literally lifted straight from the comic books.
Yeah, that's the thing. All of the quips and all of the puns that, again, we can go into later because they're fantastic. It really, again, it feels so comic booky. And I was like, I get it. I get the feel of the comic books in a way I've never gotten it before with Batman. And I feel like there's so many... I feel like superheroes were created to be camp and fun. And now a lot of superhero films are incredibly dark and serious. And I feel like I struggle to take it that seriously, whereas with Batman and Robin, I was like, this is kind of what I would want out of a superhero film. Again, I know my brain is warped. I know that we're, 200 films into this? No,
Wow.
150 films into this.
We're 160.
And I know
Holy
my
shit.
brain is warped from it, but I do feel like this was a good time.
Can I ask, Abby, have you
Yes.
seen any of the other of this Batman series, the Burton Schumacher ones?
No.
That makes sense because I'm with both of you in that I don't think this movie should be on this list. I agree, and I had a great time watching it. My upfront opinion is that I actually had much more fun with it than Batman Forever, which I had problems with.
Really?
But I'll get into it. But I thought I had seen the Tim Burton Batmans before because my dad had them and really enjoyed them, and I didn't really so they were on, but I thought that I was watching bits from across all four of them. No, I've seen this movie several times. I have never seen the Burton Batmans until earlier this week because I watched through all of them in prep for this
wow.
episode. The 89 Batman and Batman... They fuck so hard,
Yeah.
man. They're so good.
Listen, I'm actually I come to this episode with a lot of questions.
Yes.
Because
I thought you might. I did extra research.
Thank you, because I'm not a Batman girly. I've never had a Batman phase, and I'm just not a superhero fan in general. So I don't know the timeline of movies that were coming out in the 80s and 90s before this. So when you say the so-and-so series, already forgotten what you said. What was it? Buckenmeicher?
Burton Schumacher.
Burton Schumacher. Did those films start in the 80s, and were they the ones with Jack Nicholson?
You know what? Why don't I just get into the key details?
Okay.
I know it's early in the episode, but let's just fucking do it, guys.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We're the masters of our own destiny. We can do whatever we
We're
want.
the captains of our soul,
Who's
the
gonna
masters of our fate.
Who's going to stop us? IMDb
Yeah.
boss, baby.
Let's do
We've proven he has no power over us.
That's not true.
He has no power over
Michelle,
us.
just because you say it does not make it be.
No, I'm pretty sure this is the ending of either Labyrinth or Elmo and Grouchland. I can't remember. I think it's Labyrinth.
You know what? We could defeat the IMDb boss baby through the power of friendship alone. If we all held hands. Oh, Shane, you're on Zoom.
Fuck.
Because I was going to say, if the three of us held hands together, maybe we could have the power of friendship to defeat them. But never mind.
Whatever.
Another week, another void space we crawl back into.
right,
Thanks,
well.
Shane.
Guess it's time for the key details. This one came out in 1997.
Yeah.
Instead of going through the rest of them immediately, I have production history notes on Batman, a little bit on Batman Returns, though that's less written down, and then on Batman Forever.
Let's
right?
go further back. I want the guy that created it. I want where
Bob
he was
Kane.
born. I want how his parents met.
I don't know those
I want to
things.
know where they fucked.
I don't know
want to know
those
how he
things.
was conceived. I want to know his
I don't
star
know
sign
that.
and what his
a lot
hobbies
of this
are.
is about his like family and sexual history.
Okay.
No. A lot of what you're asking is about
I
that.
got
No,
excited,
my
'cause
notes
I'm like,
aren't
that's
at
what I'm-
all about that.
That's a shame.
Batman, if I remember, started in the 30s in detective comics. That's why it's called DC. And he was mostly a detective. Like, he originally carried around a gun, which I think is very funny. Yeah.
Wait, when you say he was originally a detective,
Well, he's still known as the world's greatest detective. That's his quote unquote, like, I don't know, title, his name.
Batman's.
Batman, yeah.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the author for a second, the guy that created it.
No,
I was
Bob Kane is not the
wow.
world's greatest detective.
Oh, man. All right, so Batman is the world's greatest detective, and he
Batman's the
initially had a gun.
He initially just had a gun.
Okay.
It came up in the Silver Age?
Shane, is this like watching a child be informed about Batman for the first time?
See, I've never been a big DC person, so I only know it like tangentially. And like Michelle, I had not actually seen the Burton Batmans until recently. I'd only ever seen Batman Forever and Batman and Robin multiple times as a kid.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, though, because they play so well for kids.
Yeah.
So in the 70s, Batman was starting to wane in terms of its popularity in general.
Yeah.
Producers Benjamin Melnicker and Michael E. Uslan purchased the film rights in 1979. It was Uslan's wish to, quote, to make the definitive dark, serious version of Batman the way Bob Kane and Bill Finger had envisioned him in 1939.
Okay.
A creature of the night stalking criminals in the shadows. Now, this reveals a tension that's going to come up again and again between the initial conception of Batman as, again, 30s and 40s, like very noirish and dark, versus also then in like the 50s and 60s, very camp and silly, right? So both of these are core to Batman.
Yeah.
And just basically, purely probably when you grew up and stuff, your which one you have in your head when you think of Batman is going to change.
Interesting. I assumed that the camp superhero, like the comic books, would have been more well known. Is that wrong though?
Well, no. At this time, the campiness was more well known because of this 1960s Adam West Batman TV show. You know, the classic Batman.
Shark repellent
The
spray.
Yes, exactly. And so what Uslan wanted to do was to bring it back to the older, in his opinion, older vision of dark, serious Batman. However, studios were only interested in something that replicated the camp of the Adam West series of the 60s, like I just said, which also did have a movie called Batman the Movie in 1966. Batman. So see, I try and move past it. I try and just move past it. All right.
You work through it. I respect that. I can't get past it.
After multiple attempts at getting the project, this, by the way, me condensing so much that I read. The Wikipedia for all four of these movies is so dense. After multiple attempts at getting the project off the ground failed, Warner Brothers turned to Tim Burton, hot off the back of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, as their director. Julie Hickson, Burton's then girlfriend, wrote a 30-page treatment inspired by the newly released and now legendary Batman comics The Dark Knight Returns and The Killing Joke. For context, those were both released in the 80s by Alan Moore and Frank Miller, respectively.
Is Alan Moore that incredible
Watchmen.
graphic? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The guy who
So
put a spell on Warner Brothers because he hated what they did to 300.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing. These two comics are legendary for both of their careers. Now, I don't really care for Frank Miller outside of this work, but this kind of helps launch Alan Moore and all of that. But like, both of these comics change comics forever. They fully change what comics can be, and part of it is that grounding, that dark and grittiness and stuff. So Julie Hickson, very inspired by those, does a treatment. With some extra help, with some extra work from Steve Englehart in the process. And that was turned into a script by Sam Hamm, who was brought on by Burton, who was a comics writer. I know his name's Sam Hamm.
Sam Hamm.
And a reticent Warner Brothers was finally convinced after the huge success of Beetlejuice. So they'd had all the things in a row. They really liked the script.
Yeah.
They weren't sure about going forward. And then Beetlejuice in 1988? I can't remember. It's not really important to the story. Right before they started filming, huge success, and Warner Brothers was like, all right, Burton, you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
Right? That then leads to Batman. Well, it's just called Batman now, often referred to as Batman 89 because it came out in 1989.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's got Michael Keaton. Where I put this on my story as well, where he looks exactly like fucking Billy Joel. It's absolutely insane. It's got Kim Basinger as the love interest, Vicky Vale. It's very noirish. It's dark for the time. Now we've had like 1,000 even darker Batmans.
Yeah.
So it's like watching it now in a post Nolan, post Batfleck world is like, it's not dark. It's still campy and noirish and high art. It is incredible. It fucks and it fucks hard.
I was
Does it
so
fuck- so-
shocked how, like, I'm watching, because my idea of what it was or what it would be, it was totally informed by the Batman ride at Movie World that I went on a bunch as a kid, which basically takes a lot from Batman Returns. So I anticipated that, and then I go into this picture, and it's like a James Cagney movie.
Yes, it is.
It's like Batman is almost like a side character to all these guys with like Tommy guns and bars of acid, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is not the movie I thought it would be. It was really good.
That's great. When you say the Batman ride at Movie World, what is that like? Was it a roller? Because the only thing I remember Batman related at Movie World is the drop.
No, so in the yeah, that's right. You might not have come up here. It was basically one of those, like, you're strapped into like a car-esque sort of thing, and the seats are like are shaking and moving as you're watching some sort of presentation with the idea that you're in the Batmobile helping Batman out, and so you drive through the streets of Gotham, and it's those really, in Mr. Bean. And he in the Mr. Bean movie, this is a weird cut, but it's the exact thing. And you know how he rigs the ride in this? It's like a cinema, but the chairs are all moving. So they're like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it's one of those kind of rides, and you got into like a little Batmobile thing, and it was so much fun. But you were basically like chasing Penguin, and Catwoman helped you out, and all these kind of things.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that's great, because I did go on the Batman drop at Movie World.
The Batman
in
drop?
Queensland. Yeah,
yeah.
it's the big, it's the classic. They get you into the thing and it takes you to the top and it just
Yeah.
drops you.
You all get in a circle. You're strapped into a circle, and then the circle
it's actually
goes up the
just a
big
straight line.
shaft.
It's a straight line.
That's
And
the
then it
giant
goes
drop,
up
but
a
that's
big
not
shaft, and then
Batman
it just-
themed, or at least not.
It was.
Wait, at
Okay, maybe
Movie
it's
World?
changed.
At Movie World,
At
yeah.
Movie World. This was 10 years ago in 2013.
Okay,
when
so
I
that's
went on it.
before. That's after I've been there. I haven't been there in like 15.
Maybe it's still the Batman. I mean, listeners, please email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com if you have encountered the Batman drop at Movie World.
Now,
Because
I didn't get to go on it because when I went to the Gold Coast when I was a kid, which, by the way, for American listeners, or for non-Australian listeners, is where like all of our major theme parks are located in
Yeah.
like one dense spot. I was there for a week with my mom, and I broke my ankle on the first day, so I couldn't go on almost anything.
No.
Whereas my experience on the Batman drop was terrible because I didn't want to go to the theme parks in general. I was essentially on my schoolies. It was like an unofficial one because we didn't go to schoolies. And then later we were like, let's just do something akin to schoolies. We went up to the Gold Coast, hired an apartment, and then we went to Movie World one day. I was not keen. Hate theme parks. Don't like roller coasters. Don't like how fast they are.
Really?
Makes me feel sick. I hate it. I hate adrenaline. I love being comfortable. And then all my friends were begging me because I was just sitting on the side watching them all day. And finally I was like, you know what? I'll just go on the Batman drop because I'm clearly afraid of roller coasters, but that'll be fine. And then we all got in and we got right up to the top and I could see like 250 kilometers every fucking direction. It was bizarre. And I realized in that moment that it's not roller coasters that scare me because they move too fast. It's the falling sensation in the roller
Yeah.
coasters. And I remember I yelled to my friend, I was like, I think I know what it is. It's not roller coasters. It's falling. And they were like, oh no. And we dropped. And I remember all of my friends had this cute like, noise as they went down, and my noise sounded like a whale giving birth. I was like, "Bleh," and I felt like my stomach went inside out. It was a horrible experience. I think I vomited afterwards.
That's cool.
Never been back. You can't make me go back. Anyway, go on, Michelle.
So to answer your earlier question, that's the one with Jack Nicholson as the Joker, and he does such a good fucking
So
job.
it's a good performance.
It's
Everyone's
It's a
like,
great
so
performance.
okay.
Yeah, he kind of steals the show.
And is Michael Keaton any good as Batman? Because I'm very neutral to Michael Keaton.
He's great as Batman.
I'm not for or against him in general, but I don't care enough about him.
Controversially to Michelle's opinion, I actually thought Val Kilmer was my favorite Batman.
That's fucking crazy. That's insane.
The
Val
Iceman?
Kilmer is so easily the worst We'll get to it. When we get to Batman Forever, we'll talk about it. That's crazy.
I'm pretending to be shocked. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but that's crazy.
When Michael Keaton was cast, there was a lot of controversy because he was mostly known for things like Mr. Mom and like comedic performances, and they were like, he can't do the gravitas of Batman. I think he does a great job.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
does way better than I thought. I get why Gen X likes this movie a lot. Also, way more, however much Prince, like, the artist formerly known as, however much Prince you think is in the movie, add way more Prince to that.
Double it.
Double it. No, more than, like,
Triple it.
there's like 5 Prince songs, and he wrote a 9-song album for the movie.
That's crazy.
There's a long history of music and these movies as well.
So what's Batman Forever?
I'll get to that because
Okay, all right.
then there was the sequel, Batman Returns. It's the one I'm going to talk about the least.
Yeah.
Burton came back. Everyone came back. Burton came back. Keaton came back. The producers were back. It was a little darker. Burton was reticent to do it at first because it doesn't really like sequels, and he said he wanted to make sure he did it in like a hipper sort of way.
Yeah.
So it's got Danny DeVito as Penguin.
So
Yeah.
good.
Is he good?
So good.
Yeah, is he good?
He's great.
I'd watch it just for him.
Christopher Walken is like an industrialist crime boss.
I would
who's
also
sort of his
watch it
partner.
just for him.
He's so good in it. And then Michelle Pfeiffer is Selena Kyle or Catwoman.
Is she good?
Fuck, man, she's so
She
good.
could
She's
turn me. And I'm like a Kinsey 6. Like, there is not a straight bone in my body. She is incredible in that movie. She steals the show more than any other performance in Batman Returns to
Really?
me.
Oh yeah, there's a bit where she gets pushed out a window, and the way it's shot is so like visceral, and
Yeah.
it's so good. You kind of forget because of how poor a lot of his output has been for the last decade and a half.
Yeah.
But Tim Burton really had the juice
He
back
was
in the
really
day.
smashing it back in the day. And so that was Batman Returns.
Yes. Now, the reason that's relevant is because it was darker, there was some controversy of it being like too scary for kids, and parents were getting up in arms. Also, Batman 89, when it was released, was made for $40 million and made $486 million, making it, at the time, 5th highest grossing movie of all time.
Fuck.
Of all time.
Fuck.
It was huge. Batman Returns makes $285 million.
Wow.
Big? No
Like
idea.
What was their budget?
Half the box office.
Yeah, half.
Oh.
So Warner Brothers was like, fuck it. You know what? Burton wants out. Let's let him get out.
And they blamed because of the complaints, because there was like a toy line that at McDonald's
Yeah.
that they complained about, and McDonald's pulled the toy line because the parents didn't want it associated with Batman because they thought Batman Returns was too dark.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the studio specifically wanted to lighten it up.
Yeah.
Burton already wanted it out.
Yeah.
Initially, Michael Keaton was going to stay and start working instead with Joel Schumacher, known for making St. Elmo's Fire, Flatliners, a movie that's not very good, but I have a really good time with it. He makes a lot of movies that are very fun, I think. I appreciate his work, even if I don't always like the movie.
Yeah.
He's
I
one of
love
those
so
kind of
much
guys.
of his output, even the ones that aren't good. I love.
That's what I mean. I'm like, I always have a good time. But, fantastically queer director as well. So initially they're going to work together, and then Keaton ends up leaving. In his words, he wasn't happy with the script. He wanted it to go in a different direction, and also he wanted to, in quotes, do more interesting work.
Okay.
He turned down $15 million to do it.
Wow.
Yeah, which would have been one of the highest salaries for an actor at the time.
Until
think the
Batman
reason
and Robin
I'm
comes
so-
along.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I'm so neutral about Michael Keaton is that when I was a kid, someone gifted me like a copy of, I don't know, fucking Mean Girls or something, a film I wanted to watch. But then you know how like you'd get those DVDs back in the day that was 2 movies in one, and then the cover would have that like split design showing
Yeah.
the posters.
Yes.
Yeah. We had one was Mean Girls, that was the movie I wanted, and then the other one was The First Daughter with Katie Holmes
Oh,
and Michael
no.
Keaton. And I watched it because I was like, well, it's on the DVD, and it was shocking. It is actually like one of it brings out this anger in me that I'm not proud of. Like if we encountered in this list, I'd be like, it's just like Besmoir. I'm not watching it. I have a moral opposition to watching it. I cannot watch Katie Holmes bore me to tears for an hour and a half, and
Well,
Michael Keaton
yeah.
gives 0. So yeah, I'm so glad he went on to do more interesting work.
And he really did. So here's my stuff on Batman Forever. So a decision was made to go with a younger actor for Bruce Wayne. An offer was made to Ethan Hawke, who turned it down. He later regretted it. Schumacher, and so instead there was a bunch of people who were up for it. If I remember, was it for this role or was it for... that's later, by the way, also up. I saved this just for you for the Riddler, who's in Batman Forever. One of the potentials was Brad Dourif, because Burton was still on as producer. I know you love.
Love Brad Dourif.
Have you
Yeah.
seen,
He's
Brad
good in
Dourif's great. Have you
everything.
seen the Child's Play movies?
No, I haven't.
He's Chucky.
Wait, Brad
Fuck
Dourif
off.
is
It's
Chucky?
Brad Dourif. I'm almost certain it's
That's
Brad Dourif.
crazy.
And he
Grima
vo- he-
Wormtongue?
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Doctor in
Yeah,
Deadwood?
he voices Chucky.
No.
And one of the most, this is a total sidebar, it's one of the most consistent horror franchises, and it is the gayest horror franchise by a long shot, because Don Mancini, the creator of it, was basically with the franchise for every single installment, and he's gay as hell. It's great. Highly
it.
recommend.
Love it.
Wow.
Love it. I would watch it just for Brad Dourif. Yeah. I
Wow.
love him.
I didn't think I could love Brad Dourif more, but holy
He's
shit.
so good in Deadwood as the Doctor. Just outstanding.
So, after going through a bunch of people, they end up casting Val Kilmer. Now, even though this Batman Forever is not the one that we're watching today, we've encountered Val Kilmer and his antics before on the list because of Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yes, and I have very little love in my heart for Val Kilmer. Not as a performer, just as a man.
I was saving this for the trivia, but fun fact, he left Batman Forever. He declined Batman and Robin to go and do The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh my God.
List connection, another one of those.
Island of Dr.
Wow.
Moreau continues to be one of my favorite films that we've had to watch in this list, and one of my favorite episodes to record.
I think it is still one of our best episodes.
Yeah, it's a goodie. It's a goodie.
So Schumacher and Kilmer clashed during the making of the film. Schumacher described Kilmer as childish and impossible, reporting that he fought with various crewmen and refused to speak to Schumacher for 2 weeks after the director told him to stop being rude.
So on brand for Val Kilmer.
Now, by the way, a recurring theme is that Joel Schumacher is the nicest man, the nicest director I've ever heard of. He's so sweet and has nothing but good things to say about everyone except for Val Kilmer and Tommy Lee Jones.
Well, but he, in the commentary for Batman and Robin, which I also watched in prep for this podcast, he says he still thinks to this day, after having directed 2 of them, he thinks Val Kilmer's the best person to have played Batman.
Interesting.
Well, he might have still appreciated the performance, even if he found him really fucking annoying.
And so Val Kilmer, the first thing he does for Batman is Batman Forever.
Batman Forever.
And what year did it come out?
92.
1995.
No.
No, it wasn't Returns 92.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I forgot about.
Fucking
Yeah,
nailed it. Fucking, I'm on my toes. I'm keeping
so
up.
Val Kilmer was 95. Batman Forever. I think I've seen clips of Batman Forever because
Yeah.
I've seen the Riddler.
Yes.
You know, I've seen
Jim
it memed.
Carrey is the Riddler.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And look, as someone who also earlier this week rewatched a childhood classic of mine that is also a much maligned movie, The Cable Guy, now I kind of get why audiences would have been really fucking annoyed with Jim Carrey. I think there's moments where he's really great as the Riddler, and there's also moments where I'm like, I'm a little overstimulated and I need you to chill out.
I'm like, give it to me. Give me every single, like,
in the third act, it works for me. There's so much in the middle where I'm like, can you just do one line reading a little smaller? Just a little.
No,
It's
give
so-
it to me as big as possible.
I love it big as well, and I love Jim Carrey, but it's so funny you say that because Claude continuously claims that Jim Carrey has ruined a whole generation of millennials because there's a lot of millennials that have
Divorce.
this like really they do like the big voice and the big energy, and then like Claude is just like fuck, they're just copying Jim Carrey and it's too much. They need to bring it down like 5 levels. So you and Claude should have a chat.
It's because it's mostly fine. It's just he's at his most Jim Carrey. All of the Jim Carreyisms are so hyper concentrated in Riddler and Cable Guy, and that's what I mean. Like for general audiences, I can imagine some of them being like, "Oh, what's with this guy?" By this point.
True.
Now, Schumacher also mentioned Tommy Lee Jones as a source of trouble because Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face, replacing Billy D. Williams was Harvey Dent in the Batman '89. You know, Lando Calrissian.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
I know he was great, and they wanted to do him as Two-Face, and then they just arbitrarily replaced him with Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones doing a really big performance.
Weird.
I can't
Can't
think
even
of
imagine
any
it.
other movie.
That guy was built for his role in No Country for Old Men,
Yeah.
okay? Don't take him out of that role.
You know how
That's
weird
what he's got going
you
on.
think it is in your head? It's that weird.
Yeah.
Double it.
Yeah.
Double it.
And it's wild because he was also really rude to Jim Carrey on the set of Batman Forever and said Jim Carrey was an overactor. He was really bad. He literally went up to Jim Carrey's face and just said, I just really hate you.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That would break me if someone
yet-
just said, I hate you.
And yet you look at the movie and Tommy Lee Jones is kind of it's Tommy Lee Jones. Sorry, yes. He's just going for it in the camp and overacting, and it works.
Yeah.
It works for the movie and the whole style. But I'm sort of like, you were criticizing Jim Carrey.
What the fuck?
It was crazy.
Like, way to come for like the young actor that's just about to peak and like he's like in the prime of his 90s career and you're just there being like, you're too much.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that Schumacher specifically said was Jim Carrey was a gentleman and Tommy Lee was threatened by him. I'm tired of
Yeah.
defending overpaid, overprivileged actors. I pray I don't work with them again.
Oh, what a sweetie. I love him.
Oh, that's right. And the specific quote that Tommy Lee Jones said to Jim Carrey's face was, I hate you. I really don't like you. I cannot sanction your buffoonery.
Yeah.
So he had to deal with Tommy Lee Jones's bullshit and
Yeah.
Val Kilmer's bullshit on
Yeah.
this set. Also, can I just point out? Let's all remember how during the filming of The Island of Dr. Moreau, Marlon Brando hated Val Kilmer so much that he ate cabbage on purpose so he could fart at him. Let's just meditate on that.
Val
for
Kilmer
a bit.
only did that film because he was so in love with the idea of working with Brando.
And they hated each other. Well, Brando hated him at least.
Yeah.
I think Val Kilmer was just arrogant and insufferable, and Brando was like, "Fuck you, kid."
Which I kind of
Which
like.
is funny.
It
'Cause,
sounds like
I mean, Brando was also
Arrogant and
difficult
insufferable.
Arrogant, yeah.
And by the way, we're so deep. This is why I wanted to start right
Yeah.
off the bat. We're
Yeah.
so deep in this episode, we haven't gotten to Batman and Robin yet.
yeah.
So that's Batman Forever. Now, my opinion on it differs from Shane's. I think Val Kilmer is fucking asleep in that movie.
Oh,
I
okay.
think he's easily the worst Batman. I think he's giving it nothing.
Could he be more asleep than George Clooney in this film?
Yes, far more.
Because I don't know,
far
George
more.
Clooney gives about 5%.
Well, his love interest in this is Nicole Kidman. In Batman Forever, I mean, is Nicole Kidman, who acts the whole movie as if she has something to hide, like she's going to have like a villain turn. And then the main
She doesn't?
she's just kind of like that. The closer she gets,
she's
she
not
mentions that she's a psychiatrist because she's attracted to damaged men, which I'm like, that's a serious breach of your professional protocol.
Oh my god! I thought she was gonna be Poison Ivy because of her lovely.
She
red
was
curly
almost
hair, but I
going
guess
to be
not.
Poison Ivy in Batman Forever. That she was considered for it, and then they ended up creating her character. What's the name? It's some ludicrous name.
It is.
Shane.
What the fuck?
Like not Valerie Cherish.
Burn.
That's the character.
Valerie Cherish is
Valerie
such a
Cherish.
great fucking name. Chase Meridian.
Chase Meridian.
Chase
That's it.
Meridian.
Valerie Cherish is the character from The Comeback.
God.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
Oh no! But that. What a fantastic. You know, Claude's doctor, and you can edit this out if you want to, because I don't know if I should be mentioning who his doctor is. But his name is Chance Pistol. Dr. Chance Pistol.
Wow, that's incredible. So notably, Batman Forever also introduced Robin.
Yep.
This will come back because Robin's in this one as well.
Okay, so same guy plays Robin in that one and this one.
Same guy plays Robin in that one and this one.
Okay, and
Chris O'Donnell.
Yes.
Chris O'Donnell. And did you have a sexual awakening also with Batman Forever because of Chris O'Donnell?
No,
Or was
and
it just Batman and Robin?
I don't know
Shane?
why it was Batman and Robin and not Batman Forever, other than I think like Batman Forever doesn't have quite as much like deliberately fawning over the physique and the suits and the butts
butt,
and the crotches
groin.
and all that. Batman Forever has a bit of it. It's a touch of it, but then it sort of pulls back and lets Jim Carrey kind of carry the zanier parts of the movie. And I don't know why, because I'm pretty sure I saw Batman Forever first, because anything that Jim Carrey was in, our whole family just showed up because he was the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, but Batman and Robin is the one where I like, and it might just be time. It might just be at the time Batman and Robin came out. I was a child. I was a non-sexual child with none of those kind of things, disconnected from that. And then I was a couple of years older. I saw both of them on video after cinemas. So it was probably like 98, 99 when I saw them, maybe.
Fair. A lot can happen in 2 years
Oh,
when
yes.
you're that age.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now we get to this one. Val Kilmer leaves because he wants to go to a different movie.
Actually, Michelle, I think we should be wrapping up.
No!
So it was great to have you, Shane. Okay, keep going.
Val Kilmer left. Apparently, it was like Schumacher kind of wanted to replace and fire him, and then Val Kilmer couldn't do it, and he was like, "Thank fuck."
Oh,
So instead, they get George Clooney.
yeah.
Thinking one of the producers, I think, was like he'd be the perfect Batman.
Yeah.
He looks more like Batman, I guess. He looks more like Batman than Michael Keaton does.
Yeah, he does look like Batman, I guess.
Yeah. They also get, so like I said, director was still Joel Schumacher,
Yeah.
starring George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, Alicia Silverstone, Uma Thurman, and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
I forgot to write down the returning actors, but it would be Arnold Schwarzenegger, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Junior.
For Junior.
Yeah.
For Junior.
Yeah.
Has Uma been on this list before?
Oh, yeah. The thing that also came out in 1997. She had the Sherlock... No, not Sherlock Holmes. It had Ray Fiennes in it.
Avengers.
Yeah,
Yes.
Avengers.
Oh, yes.
She was
That's
in
right.
the 1997
You're
Avengers.
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's
I
a
can't believe
second
she's
for
on
Uma.
here twice.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
so sad. That's really disappointing.
It's the first for George Clooney.
Yeah.
Didn't think he'd show up on the list at all, to be honest, but here we are.
I thought he would show up on the list more than I thought Uma Thurman would.
Yeah,
And she's on here twice.
twice.
Now, the budget for this one... Now, remember I said that, like, less than a decade prior, that Batman 89 was made for $40 million. And when you watch it, it's astounding how good it is. $40 million. I know inflation, yada,
Not
yada.
Batman
but like,
Forever. You mean the original Batman?
sorry, I meant the original Batman.
89.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much for keeping me honest. Like, even with inflation, that's like a minuscule budget for a studio movie now. This was made for $125 to $160 million.
Oh my god.
Box office was 238, which means not that much lower than Batman Returns, but it apparently just broke even.
Yeah, that's not great.
I mean,
It's not great.
also the original Batman, though, I read, is one of the most famous accounts of Hollywood accounting.
Really?
Yeah, because like I said, it allegedly was the 5th highest grossing movie when it came out,
Yeah.
and it allegedly has never returned a profit.
Oh my god.
It made 11 times
Have you
its
seen
budget.
the one that
Oh
leaked
my
the Harry
God.
Potter 5? And they leaked the financial sheet where it's because Harry Potter 5 made $900 million. So it was just shy of $1 billion. And there's the sheet where
Yeah.
you can see all of their deductions, and it basically is $160 million in the red. Supposedly.
Oh my god. No, it's
Oh,
not.
It's money laundering.
That's
It's
fucked.
Yeah.
I can't believe we have to beg for like a humble 5 mil in this country
Yeah.
for a feature. It's
We're like,
fucked.
please, we have to beg for one.
Yeah, we do.
We have to beg for half.
Yeah.
Please, sir, can I have
May I
$500,000?
have a 10 grand to make a
Please.
short film, sir? Please.
With $500,000, I could almost pay everyone.
I could get my mummy and daddy out of the factories.
I wouldn't be able to pay myself. I would surely starve, but the others could live.
There'll be a lot of unpaid work somehow still.
Yeah.
Free catering.
And then we'll release it in cinemas for 1 week with no promotion, and it won't make a dime.
But you're not jaded at all.
No, I'm not jaded
No,
at all.
clearly.
No. So here's the overview.
We made it!
This might be the latest in an episode we've done an overview.
Yeah.
When new villain Mr. Freeze starts a string of diamond robberies, narrowly evading Batman and Robin in the process, they seek to learn more about their foe and discover that he was originally a scientist, Victor Freeze, working on a cure for McGregor syndrome, a rare disease affecting his wife, who he had frozen in the hopes that he would one day find the cure. He since suffered a lab accident that left him needing to live in a cryogenic suit powered by diamonds. There's no way to say it out loud without laughing.
One more diamond.
Powered by diamonds. Meanwhile, in Brazil, Dr. Pamela Isley, was it Isley or Isley?
Shane?
Pamela Isley? Isley. I think they said it like Isley.
Isley. Yeah, you're right. Dr. Pamela Isley, because it's like Ivy, who has been researching ways to hybridize animals and plants. It's really skimmed over. Learns her research is being used to create a super soldier serum called Venom, witnesses its use to birth Bane, who used to be a serial killer. Now he's a super guy. Her superior discovers that she is aware and attempts to kill her by dousing her in her own chemicals, which also leads her to sort of fall into a pit or something, which instead turns her into Poison Ivy. She returns to Gotham with Bane in the hopes to use Bruce Wayne's money to continue her experiments. Meanwhile, Alfred's niece Barbara stops by and is invited to stay at the Wayne Manor. After Bruce rejects Ivy's offer, she instead turns to the recently arrested Freeze for help and revenge. Robin discovers that Barbara has been sneaking out to participate in street races in the hopes to raise money for Alfred. By the way, Bruce is a billionaire. In the hopes to raise money for Alfred, who has secretly begun suffering from McGregor syndrome. Batman and Robin chase down Freeze and Ivy, who has now convinced Freeze that Batman has killed his wife, which he didn't do, and subsequently swears revenge on the world with a plan to freeze Gotham. They stop Ivy with the help of Barbara, who found a secret costume made for her by Alfred and now goes by Batgirl, and team up to stop Freeze's ray by harnessing the sun on the other side of the planet to reheat Gotham.
What, you don't get it?
Ugh.
Makes sense.
I didn't realize how hard to explain this movie was until I had to write down explaining it.
I don't envy you.
Guys,
I love when you say the plot of Revenge, because that's like that one line he goes, ha 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 ha, revenge!
Yes. I mean, look, we got to talk about, I guess, more than anything, because I had to say freeze like 8 times. We got to talk about the ice puns, right?
Of course. I mean, the ice puns were the standout. They
Yeah.
were fantastic. And also just Arnie as Mr. Freeze, I thought was such good fun and such good value. And at first,
He's having so much
it says-
fun doing it. Like, you can just
yes,
tell.
he is. And it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like Arnie's delivery is always strangely, like, steelish. Like, it's
They put a flanger on his voice so that it would sound more metal and cold and stuff. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, he struggles to show any emotion in a lot of his deliveries, but then just him yelling out these terrible ice puns in his full garb, you can tell he's just having a ball. And then you end up I feel like I kept laughing at it, and I didn't think I would continue to laugh at it. You laugh at it because it's camp rather than it being a great pun.
Yeah.
And it's a fun time.
Exactly right. The camp is just it's all through the entire film. It's one. Apparently, one of the reasons it's so like good and family friendly. The studio was like, it has to be family friendly because it was just this reactionary thing against Batman Returns. But because of that, like everyone on set was able to bring their kids to set. Because normally, they can't, Arnold can't bring his kid to Predator,
nice.
or whatever. But they'll bring their kids to set.
can try.
Because it's just Batman and
Yeah.
they're punching people and there's no blood.
Yes, it's just
great.
Uma Thurman walking around, like strutting around in her costumes. But I will say, like, my favorite was, how did the dinosaurs die? The Ice Age.
Which is not true. That's not true.
And I think he also said, like, weather forecast, a freeze is coming in. And I'm like, why wouldn't you say, like, a cold front or something? Like, who says a freeze is coming?
No, my favorite one was when he enters in like the ball and he's like, "All right, everyone, chill."
Yeah.
He's just
Chill.
asking them to chill
I think
out.
he says, like, chill. He says it again and again. I also love how he's just like, oh, what was it? Sorry, there was so many of them.
There was, I think, there was a count. There's like 27 or 28 of them.
I think he also says, like, time to kick some ice.
Yeah.
Instead of ass.
Yeah.
Which is a real far
Time to
reach.
kick
But
some
my boyfriend and I
ice.
have this like
Pun.
Mandela effect, where he would always quote, because we talk about it and joke about the movie. He doesn't like it at all, and I was reveling in it, and he would always quote "ice to see you," even though that is not a line
Yes.
that is in the movie at all.
Oh.
It's such a classic ice pun. I guess it should be in the movie. It's of the no, but it's too good. It's not as good as What Killed the Dinosaurs: The Ice Age, which again is wrong.
Best line in the whole film. Best line in the whole film.
I like the idea that he just thinks that. Like he's that's not the kind of scientist he is.
I think that, like, Arnie's jokes and the puns were fantastic, and I really enjoyed him as Mr. Freeze overall. But of course, the other standout was Uma, in my opinion.
Yes.
I loved her as Poison Ivy.
We were talking about sexual awakenings. I don't have it as like, I don't think this is the first one for me, but this is definitely formative because she is a weirdy little dork who also, let's be honest, is effectively a neuter, and then falls into a hole and emerges a sexy woman who can blow horny dust at people and make them wriggle around, and like it's
Is that what you'd like to be able to do, Michelle?
yeah,
Blow sexy dust at people?
yeah.
When did you first see this? Did you first see this when you were a kid or for this podcast?
When I was like, this, I had seen like when I was like 12. Thinking I had seen bits of all of them. I'd only seen this when I was like 12. And this is what I mean. 12-year-old me, like right at the cusp of puberty,
Yeah.
at not knowing I was trans, having someone just emerge as a sexy woman and then they can blow horny dust and wriggle is a lot. And then I watched it again last year because I was staying at a friend's in Sydney and they were like, let's watch a movie. Hey, this is good. And put on Batman and Robin.
Who was that?
That was Lauren.
Oh my God. To be fair, the last time I stayed with Lauren, no, not the last time, but a few years ago when I stayed with her, she made me watch Con Air and fuck it.
I
was
love
good.
Con
I
Air
could watch
so
Con Air.
That's a
I
great
love
movie.
Con Air so much. There's that bit where like that woman almost gets assaulted and he's beating the guy up and he's like, you don't treat women like that. Me and Claude, we quote that all the
Connection,
time.
Con Air, and this were both nominated for a specific Razzie about like worst disregard for human life or something like that. And it was some stupid award that they
Yes.
invented, and I think Con Air won because this was the first year that particular award was invented.
Con Air was fantastic. And to be fair, the last time I did stay at Lauren's place as well, I made her watch Rocky 4. So we dish it back and forth to each other.
Man, we really do like bad movies.
We really
just
do.
in our day-to-day.
Yeah, yeah.
I love Uma's acting is so reminiscent of have either of you seen Mummy Dearest?
Oh my God.
No,
It's the
no.
Joan Crawford.
it's legendary.
Legendary Joan Crawford biopic
Yeah.
where Faye Dunaway just went full method and gave
Yeah.
us a performance that is so bad it's become high art since and has become like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
staple of quotes in the gay community. And everything Uma's
Yeah.
doing is like, I was just like, she just understood. She's like, I'm just going to say these lines so earnestly and over the top that it's just pure camp. Like down.
It's so, to me, it's so 1950s and 40s. It's very like Mae West.
I was
It's
gonna say
very,
Mae West.
Yeah, it's very that kind of like, you're coming into here
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
trying to touch me down there. It's very, I loved the weird transatlantic accent she had
One of
going
my favorite bits of her acting, it's when she redresses up as like dowdy self, but in her green Rita Skeeter number or whatever it is, and Batman says no, let her through, and she like waves the pamphlet in front of the face of the security guard.
Yeah.
And I pissed myself laughing. It was so funny.
Yeah. She's so fantastic the entire time. I loved there were a lot of standout performances, but there was this one bit where she's like walking up to Batman and she's like, I love an anatomically correct suit. And I was just like...
that's a reference to the Batnipples, the famous Batnipples, which were introduced in Val Kilmer's suit. Also, a lot of people made really awful like comments about how Schumacher introduced the nipples and homoeroticism because he's gay. It's just trying to inherently sexualize queerness in that classic way. I think the Batnipples are fine.
Well, he did it as a reference to like Greek statues, so because the suits are so over muscled to represent those things. But B, like they 100% work for me.
Well, they're horny, but it's the sort of thing of like they're not horny necessarily because he's gay. They're horny,
But they're also very gay.
They're horny
also
and gay.
very gay.
Yeah, they're very gay.
I can probably attribute the nipple suits to various bedroom proclivities. Let's put it that.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I just mean there's tons of horny straightness. This is just the
true.
same amount of
If
horny.
they think that the first guy to do anything horny with a film is a gay man, think again.
Michelle Pfeiffer's in a skin-tight
Yeah.
leather suit in Batman
Yeah.
Returns.
Yeah.
And they're like, nipples?
Yeah, it's as
yuck.
soon as you put the men in the suits and you start objectifying the men.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why what
Yeah.
I was saying when I said that people like hated it, and I know why they hated it, because like all of the things that they're vocal about are the things that are gay. It's the campiness, it's the colorful thing, it's the overacting, it's the nipple suits, not any of like because there's some things that don't work. There's some plot things that are like. Okay, you accept that, but all the things that people are the most vocal about that you constantly hear jokes about the nipple suits, and that's like the queer things.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's the same thing with like disco. Also, while we're talking about Batman in general, I did forget to mention my favorite / easily the worst bit of Batman Forever, which I need to, I want to get your opinion on, Shane, and I need to explain to Abby, which is there's a point where we see on a TV screen like report with video footage of the origin of how Two-Face now has half his face scarred. And it's that he's in court and then a gangster goes to like throw acid on him. And then in slow-mo, it cuts to Val Kilmer, who is apparently sitting like in the not the jury, but like in the general sort of court area in his full bat outfit, kind of trying to get over the wood barricade to stop him and kind of struggling with it a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Tommy Lee Jones like holds up his like papers to try and block his face, but he only blocks half of his face.
Yeah.
And that's why it scarred half his face. Don't show Batman. Why is he in court in his full Batman
so
outfit?
funny.
Why is he trying to jump over the...
I mean, like in this film, there's some really good jokes. Like there's that bit where I think, is it Mr. Freeze that pulls out his like credit card?
Yeah. No,
Batman.
it's Batman.
It's Batman that
Never
pulls
leave
out
home
his...
without it.
The Batman credit card is from the comic book.
It's so
Is
funny.
it?
It's from the Batman credit card is from the comic books. He uses it to get into the Batcave.
Oh.
And like Mr. Freeze in his like robe
Yeah.
and with all the henchmen in his like ice palace is also from the comic book.
Yeah.
I love it. And I loved some of the dry fucking comedy beats. Like when Mr. Freeze, wants to die and then he gives Batman the vials that will help them with, what is it, McGregor's disease?
Yeah, McGregor syndrome.
And then, syndrome. And then like he literally hands them to him and he's just like, take 2, call me in the morning. Like, it's so funny. I was like, that made me fucking genuinely crack up. The delivery was actually really good.
Well, it's interesting with Mr. Freeze, though, because you have bits where he's, like, conducting his gang to the Snow Miser song, which is both fun and also, like, it feels like something that's constructed to be fun in a way that almost doesn't work for me,
No,
but
it worked
just
for
gets
me.
away for it.
I loved it. I was like, this is great. I could watch Arnie do this all day.
What I think is odd is the blending of that camp version of Mr. Freeze with a lot of this is inspired by, so this is important, a context that I didn't get to, is that the 89 Batman and then Batman Returns in particular inspire Warner Brothers to make the Batman the Animated Series,
Okay.
which was then playing throughout the 90s. That's a really, really important show for the development of American cartoons, but especially like superhero cartoons, but just cartoons in general, because it's really great. That's a show that I watched as a kid so much. It is legendary. And it's sort of anchored around the tone of Batman Returns. And one of the things that Batman the Animated Series introduces. Sorry, I'm just trying to blow past it. I'm just trying to blow past that I almost burped.
No, I
just
gotta
trying
do
to be an
my
adult
method.
about it.
You
Just
try and
trying to be a
stifle
grown-up.
them. You just gotta yell them out. So dumb. Don't hide them, Michelle. Don't live a life of shame.
Sorry. One of the things that this introduced.
So good.
One of the things that Batman the Animated Series introduced with Mr. Freeze is like his whole backstory. He's basically reconceived for it. The whole thing about his wife actually suffering from this disease, and his whole thing is actually that he's trying to find a cure and power his suit and stuff to solve it,
Yeah.
to make him a tragic villain.
Yeah.
That's from Batman the Animated Series, not from the comics. And so what I think is odd in this movie is the sort of blending of those in a way that's meant to be this like tragic, grounded, like it's quite a beautiful thing in the show version with the just like very silly.
I think they kind of got. I think it was a good goal. I don't know why I'm defending everything with this film. I feel like you're making genuinely fair critiques, and I'm here being like, actually, it worked for me. But I feel like it did. I feel like if it was just funny. Just puns, just the same performance, it would have been very one note. The fact that he did have an actual compelling motivation to do these things made me like him as a character. I thought it was a good call. As someone that doesn't know the source material for either of like the cartoon or the comics, I was like, I like it. It worked for me. Everything worked for me.
Fair.
It makes you a little less frustrated that he doesn't die at the end.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, the Joker dies at the end of Batman and Tommy Lee Jones dies at the end of Batman Forever.
Yeah. I did think that the introducing those elements made that pathos that they give him in this earned.
Yeah, I was saying to Claude, how come every time there's a dead wife or a dying wife in a show or a movie, they're always blonde? It's always a blonde dying wife.
Because it's the most pure and innocent of
I
colors.
suppose so, yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
To be fair, Batman exclusively dates blonde women. Oh, we got to talk about Elle Macpherson in this sucks.
Yeah,
she
what the
sucks
fuck?
in this.
What's the purpose of her being in this? Like,
Well,
why?
Batman has a love interest in the other movies.
Right, and she does nothing. She's not part of the plot. She doesn't come into it at all. She's just his beautiful Elle Macpherson girlfriend. That what does happen between
Does she
them?
have a character? Is
Does she have
just
an
Elle
arc?
Macpherson in the?
I think I read somewhere that she had a bit more that was cut from the movie.
Oh. Well, to be fair, if I was in the edit room and I saw what the runtime would be without a cut scene, I'd be like, we really do need to cut some of these.
And hey, I'll say
Yeah.
to this film's credit, when I put it on and it was 2 hours and 4 minutes, I panicked. I panicked big time because, as everyone knows that listens to this podcast, I value my time. And the less time I have to spend watching these films, the better. I enjoyed it the entire way through. I didn't realize it was 2 hours long. It didn't feel like it.
I think it should have been 100, 105. Like
But it felt 100 to me.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I didn't have a bad time with this, but like by the time it gets to the third act, I was genuinely just like, and I love like stimming to a movie, you know? It's why I love like Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm like, whoa, fuck, just like rocking in my seat. Holy shit, I'm gonna nut,
Jizzing
man.
in your pants, yep.
Jizzing in my pants, like, cream in my jeans, all that.
You know, The Lonely Island got it right. Jizzing in pants is funny. Give me some skin. Give me some skin.
All right.
Wait, it's
can we do a
cyclical,
better
like Borat. It's cyclical. It gets funny. Thank you, Shane. Thank you. Look, come on. Yeah. But yeah, Sorry, what were we talking about? I'm just thinking about the Lonely Island now.
Oh, yeah, in this, I was getting a little overstimulated. By the time it gets to the third act and it's just like their big ice Gotham, I'm like, I really just kind of need it to be done.
And they're in their cool new suits that exist purely for the fight scene at the end. I loved it.
Well, okay, Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl, as Barbara.
Do you like her as an actress?
She doesn't have great range, but
I like her in Clueless, and then I realized when I was watching this, I don't think I like her in anything else.
No.
Look,
I think she's been given not good material because, you're the hot blonde.
Yeah.
You're Clueless. You're the ditz.
Yeah.
And then so she's never given enough to actually act around. So I don't think we've had the opportunity to see a better range of
probably.
her.
That's the
Whether or
thing.
not she has it. She might not have
I don't
it.
think I've
I don't think
seen-
she's particularly good in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen her in very many things, and she wasn't very good in this. But she's got this way, and it works for Cher in Clueless, but she does this thing where she doesn't bother to fully enunciate her words, where she'll let them roll a little bit. Like, it's like kind of like, yeah, my dad said, yeah, she doesn't fully open her mouth, but it's very endearing. But then in this, I was like, open your mouth, talk clearly. You're not Cher now.
Enunciate.
Yes, enunciate. I wanted Barbara to have a bit more vavoom, you know, and she didn't.
Yeah.
But
Also,
I do like Alicia Silverstone as a person.
Barbara in the comics is usually the daughter of Commissioner Gordon. She's
Oh.
Barbara Gordon, and normally has
fuck?
red hair, like iconically.
No way.
Yeah. Then there's a weird plot line where she like gets paralyzed.
So is Batgirl a real character in the comic?
Yes.
Yeah.
But she's not Barbara.
Well, she's Barbara Gordon rather than Barbara
Right.
Pennyworth
Right.
or whatever.
I liked the guy that played Alfred in this. Who played Alfred?
Oh,
He's great.
Michael Knowles, I think his name was, or something.
Michael Gough.
Michael Goth. Yeah, you're right.
What else has he been in?
G-O-U-G-H.
He was so
Yeah.
good as Alfred. He gave a genuinely...
He's like a classic British stage trained
You
actor.
can tell. He's got it going on. He's got great delivery. Just fantastic performance. Almost too good for this film, really.
Oh, he was Sir Arthur.
He's Alfred in all four of them.
Yeah, yeah. He's one of the
Really?
only ones who's in all four of them, along with Commissioner Gordon, who, by the way, such a bland Gordon, giving absolutely nothing to the character in any
I
of the movies.
barely noticed him in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I hadn't already seen like the Nolan other Batmans and stuff, like I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
I think, you know, obviously what's his name? Gary Oldman is so good in the Nolan ones.
I think Jeffrey Wright. I
was
loved
gonna say,
Jeffrey Wright in the new
Jeffrey
one.
Wright is so I think the difference is that like Commissioner Gordon in the Nolan ones is meant to be like this needed pillar of their triumvirate and stuff, whereas Jeffrey Wright felt like the last guy working at the dam. And he's got this like desperation to him. I really liked him in the new one.
Yeah.
This guy did nothing.
No, he just and like he showed like why is he showing up to the police raids? He's so useless.
He just kind of amble it. He's like, there's a bit even in the first one where he just sort of like encounters one obstacle and then just goes, and just turns away.
He seems pretty useless. The only thing I remember him doing in this film is just that Poison Ivy wants to get to the bat signal and she blows her horny dust on him and then he's just like, there, it's up the stairs. And she's like, thank you. And that's it.
Oh, yeah, did we realize that her plan is to sort of little shop everyone?
Yeah, Little Shop of Horrors, everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
She has a little Audrey 3, and that she plans to give everyone.
It's the crossover we needed.
Yeah.
It kind of is, yeah.
What else was there? Was
Before I know you're going to want to talk like more trivia soon because we're getting long in the tooth. But something about this movie that I really adore, and it's that symptomatic thing of like a lot of modern movies don't do certain like base level things. Like this movie is lit.
Yes.
You have night scenes where you can see
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Everyone has backlight. And in particular for superhero movies, one of the things I love is that the suits are real.
Yeah.
And I'm not one. I think we bash CGI a lot, and very unfairly, especially because a lot of the movies that are billed as like entirely practical are 100% not. Like, quick side, all the jets in Top Gun Maverick were replaced head to toe. Like,
Yeah.
every single jet was, because they're not the same models. The models that they flew weren't the models that were needed for the film, and so like everything's like basically it's the most expensive reference footage in the world. But in superhero movies, the costumes now are they wearing a grey suit and they CGI it afterwards, whether or not it's because they didn't design it or that was left to, like, I know the white suits from Avengers Endgame, and it's very good CGI, but the white suits from Avengers Endgame completely post-production.
I didn't know they could fucking do that. I
Yeah,
have
they
no
do it all
idea.
the time.
They do.
It's really
but the
fucking
problem
annoying.
For me, the problem for me, it can work. Like those white suits in Avengers are really good and they work really well. But the problem for me is that they're too perfect.
Yeah.
There's no creases. Everything's smooth. Everything's great. Whereas these ones, you can kind of see them crease at the arms. You can see like the capes. I miss practical capes because there's like this great moment where Robin's like put into that vat of like cream or whatever the hell it is, like whipping cream.
Was that
or
your
something.
favorite scene,
And he
Shane?
gets up.
Yes.
Any scene where Chris O'Donnell is just
In a vat of
drenched.
cream.
I'm surprised he didn't become.
I am drenched.
I'm surprised he didn't become a villain because almost every villain in these 4 movies have an origin story if they fell into something or they fell out of something.
Fell into a vat of something and it made them crazy. But there's that scene, he falls in the vat and he gets off the cape and he starts doing some fighting, or he's arguing with Bruce, and the cape like gets caught on the railing and it's clearly not intended to do that. And so he has to, like, in the middle of the scene, yank it off the railing, and it just has like the idea of those like those messy imperfections that make it feel like you're watching something happening.
Definitely.
Whereas these days, none of the superheroes with capes the capes don't exist. The capes are completely done in post so that they can drape perfectly, they can blow perfectly. And to me, it's not a matter of like, is it photoreal, is it not? It's that the capes move too nicely.
Yes.
And so then it just doesn't feel tactical. You could do it CGI, and if they animated it CGI to look like that, hell yeah. But the only exception in the modern times, there was a movie recently, Blue Beetle. Have either of you?
I haven't seen it, but I know of
No.
it. I know Blue Beetle.
It is excellent. It's the same kind of vibes. It's like the fun adventure vibes of like Brendan Fraser era mummy movies.
Oh.
Stop.
Like just that tone of like, there's a little bit of darkness, there's some humor, but it's not just like a Joss Whedon line, wink, wink,
Yeah.
at an emotional moment. It's just the humor is very natural, and the suit is real.
I
You
miss
can
films.
see him running around in a real
I
suit.
want more.
Highly recommend Blue Beetle because it tanked, unfortunately, and I think it's one of the best like recent DC movies. It's fantastic.
I want more films like that. I
Beautiful.
miss blockbusters. Like
Highly
The
recommend.
Mummy. I fucking love The Mummy. I think that it was like my favorite thing to watch as a kid. So that sounds. I'll give it a watch.
That's a lot of bisexual people's
I know
awakening,
it was
told.
Evie. It was Evie. I know. I saw this video of like Rachel Weisz at an award show the other day where they're like, "What are you like looking forward to tonight?" And she was like, "Looking at all the beautiful women." And I was like, "I get why we all had this weird thing for Evie."
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The suits were so fun. The outfits were fun.
I
The
want one.
makeup was
When I'm
fun.
rich,
And I
when I'm rich, I want to find one
yes,
and buy
and
it.
I also like I love when Poison Ivy is wearing the drag queen fucking cone
Yes.
hair spirals.
By the way, Michael Arnold Schwarzenegger's makeup. This is not in my trivia, but like it apparently took hours. He had a strict 12-hour contract,
God.
which they were like, "Oh, we have to really work around his. He can strictly only work 12 hours on set." I'm like,
Fuck.
what? Why is that? Why do you have to
full
work
day.
around? That's 12 hours, man. What the
Yeah.
fuck are you talking about? But one of the things is that you know how sometimes in some of the scenes his mouth is sort of glowing.
Yeah.
He had an LED put in there. With a battery that apparently his saliva would leak into it and just start leaking battery acid in his mouth.
Oh, what the fuck?
I wondered how they did that.
Yeah, they just put an LED in his mouth and he had to just fucking chew on battery acid.
Oh my god. That's fucked.
I didn't read anything about him complaining about this movie in any way as well.
There you go.
What a champ.
Well, but he just like let anything that his face wasn't in, he let his stunt double do it. He's like, I'm not getting in the suit. It was so cumbersome. Like
That was apparently
his
true
costume
for
weighed
everyone.
a ton. Yeah, George Clooney and Robin's suits were 22 kilos each.
Yeah. I read that the capes as well were like an additional 18 kilos because
Yeah.
they were rubber capes.
Fuck off. Sorry, my
Rubber
cat.
capes and like a dense rubber suit.
Oh my god, my cat is 10 kilos, so she's like morbidly obese. Imagining two Cassies having to be all over my body sounds
And then another...
horrible.
Well, no.
And then another two
And then another
Cassies.
one on your back.
It'd be four
And Batman had the
Cassies.
cowl. Robin only had the eyewear.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Poor George Clooney.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask with George Clooney, was this like his big thing after ER? Was this like
Yes,
his?
he was still on ER. He
Yes.
would go. He would show up to ER in the Batman
Oh my God.
outfit
So was
for
this
fun.
like his movie breakthrough thing?
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
It was he credits it because he apologizes for them. He thinks it's a terrible movie
Yeah.
and he refuses to let his wife watch it. He's like, there's some things that she should not
Well,
see.
his wife is a very busy, beautiful, powerful woman, so makes sense.
Yeah. But he still credits this as the thing that broke him from TV into movies because this was still at the time when that line was far more solid.
Yeah.
you're a TV actor or you're a movie actor or you're a washed up movie actor who went to TV.
Yeah. Oh man. Wow. I mean, we should we get into some trivia? Because I feel like we're already dabbling around it.
Before we do, though, I do want to comment on at least 2 more things.
Okay.
One is the bit where, because the Poison Ivy's whole thing is that she kisses people to death. Again, horny. She blows horny dust and she kisses people to death. The kissing a woman in this movie is death.
The bit where she kisses Robin and then he's got the rubber lips
That's what I was
on,
going to say, the rubber
that
lips.
bit was fucking hilarious.
It's not, he's immune, it's not anything. He
It's so
peels off
funny.
rubber
They look
lips.
so flimsy. I'm like, surely it still did something.
You're really playing with fire, bud.
Yeah. Oh, Chris O'Donnell, by the way, I know, I'm sorry to say this in front of you, Shane. I know he's, your first love, but he is not a great actor.
He's
like,
pretty
he is
bad in
really
this.
bad. And there's some
he's a good
there's some
actor.
terrible line deliveries.
genuinely
Shane,
fun.
do not let his
He's
beautiful
delivering
blue
the lines
eyes,
exactly as they are intended
do
to be
not
delivered.
let his beautiful blue eyes get in the way of reason. Okay, he delivers a very it's not even an average performance. Average to bad. Shane, it's not good. It's very flat. He can't emote properly.
I think he was actually with it more in this than Batman Forever. I really didn't care for Batman Forever.
Really?
I was going to say Batman Forever, you would, because he has the holy rusted metal Batman line.
Man.
Yeah, well,
Because it's like, it's rusted metal and it got holes in it. Holy, like it's the most poorly explained pun ever.
it's so great though.
And they give him like a douchebag earring in that one too.
Yeah, they really do.
Hey,
they
it
really
was
wanted
the
to be a cool
90s.
dude.
It's just what hot guys did.
Look, I just want to leave before we get into trivia on the one thing, which is that, like, Alicia Silverstone shows up and she's like, I'm Batgirl. And then Batman says, Batgirl, that's not very PC. What about Bat Person or Batwoman? You're named Batman.
Yeah.
Your name's Batman, motherfucker. What are you talking about?
When did girl become anti-PC? Why is girl worse than
When
woman?
he's like, what about Batwoman? I'm like, okay, you think she shouldn't be a girl. I mean, she is like 17, but
Yeah.
he starts with Bat Person. You're Batman.
Yeah, I mean, Robin is effectively Bat Boy. Or, I mean, I know he's Robin.
No, he's
but
Robin.
I know, but like, he's a boy. He's a boy.
He's a boy.
And so she's a girl.
He's just a boy.
He was a boy. She was a girl. Can I make it
Can you
any
make it
more
any more
obvious?
obvious?
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure they do date in the comics, and then there's a whole subplot in one of them where Batman then fucks Barbara Gordon, and it causes a falling out between him and Robin. Yeah, because that's really fucking with the face you're pulling. Listeners, Abby's pulling a face of as uncomfortable as I think everyone listening is pulling that face.
Yeah, that's weird.
a
That's
really
weird
weird
shit.
storyline.
I know he's not Alfred's granddaughter in the comics, but I was about to be like, he fucked Alfred's granddaughter? That's fucked.
Oh, he's not
They have
Alfred's-
a trust.
She's not Alfred. She's Alfred's niece.
Oh.
Pay attention.
I'm sorry. She is very young and he's very old.
Yeah.
Doesn't really line up. Anyway.
Chris O'Donnell can do no wrong. We all agree.
Okay. All right.
We
yeah,
all agree.
yeah,
we all
yeah.
agree. Well, on that note,
I've chased his filmography because of this and watched some. I haven't watched it. He's got this like rom-com he did with Renee Zellweger called The Bachelor.
Oh, wow.
He sort of became, because this movie kind of killed off his would-be next Hollywood hunk career. And so he kind of ended up kind of doing a couple of things and then moved to he's now famously in NCIS LA. He's like one of the leads.
Oh, dude.
But I saw a great movie. There's a movie called Vertical Limit, which is like that Stallone movie, but it's like the B movie. He basically became a B movie actor, but for the contemporary versions of B pictures.
Oh, wow.
And I love it. I love everything he's in. I think
real
he's
straight
great.
to DVD guy.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Theatrical
okay. So still theatrical.
B movies.
Okay. Yeah.
So they were like the mid-budget ones that they probably weren't going to make a killing at the box office, but they'd make it back once they got to DVD.
Yeah. I get you.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to hear some trivia?
Hell yeah.
Great, because keeping with the theme on this episode, I got heaps.
Oh, man.
IMDb trivia.
I know, and I couldn't read all of it on IMDb. You go scroll to the bottom, and there's like 50 more.
How many items
50
did
more.
it say at the top?
50 more. Let me.
I remember when I did Raw 1, it had 187 items, and I was like, oh my God. But that was exciting because we were doing films at the time where there was very little to find on any of them. So it was quite a joy.
It doesn't say.
Oh, they must have changed the layout. They used to list how many items they had.
Oh yeah, it doesn't
Never
say.
mind.
That's such a shame. But there's so many.
Anyway.
All right. So, According to and also just so you know, Shayna has some trivia as well, which would be cool.
Oh my
I hope that I don't have crossover trivia, but we'll see.
Well, if you do, then we'll just skip. So if we want, we can alternate, or I can do all mine and then you can do all yours.
Whatever way you want to do.
All right, I'll do mine and then you do yours, and then we'll figure it out from there. So, according to John Glover, who played Dr. Jason Woodrue, Joel Schumacher would sit on a crane with a megaphone and yell before each take, "Remember, everyone, this is a cartoon." It was hard to act because of that. It was hard to act because that kind of set the tone for the film. Which I don't get where John Glover's coming from with that, but I just loved that Joel Schumacher apparently sat there and went, "Remember, everyone, this is a cartoon."
Maybe that's why, for the first time ever, I really understood what Batman felt like as a comic.
Yeah.
Because it felt that way. It worked.
There's a great bit when like someone gets a bit of hair and it goes doing,
Yeah.
like a cartoon. It has cartoon physics.
It does. Most of the scenes with Batgirl were cut because Alicia Silverstone had gained a few pounds during production, and the wardrobe team had to refit her costume. When the press discovered the news, now this is also dubious, this first part, and I'll come back to that. It's connected to the next one as well. When the press discovered the news, they slammed Silverstone's weight gain and mocked the actress for being too fat to fit in her costume. Director Joel Schumacher publicly defended Silverstone during interviews and press meetings, joking, "What is this girl's big sin? That she had some pizza?" When the taunting continued, Schumacher lashed out at the reporters that taunted her. He said in a magazine interview, "It was horrible. I thought it was very cruel. She was a teenager who gained a few pounds, like all of us do at certain times. I would confront female journalists and I'd say, with so many young people suffering from anorexia and bulimia, why are you crucifying this girl?"
Oh, he's such a good guy.
Good guy. A stand-up guy. Related, Alicia Silverstone was brought on to play Batgirl in hopes of bringing in young women to see the film in theaters. She was a teenager at the time and was the victim of body shaming on the set and in public thanks to the cruel jokes of storyboard editor Timothy Burgard. At the time, it was rumored that the young actress was having trouble fitting into the tiny Batgirl costume. Burgard says this, "I heard she was in the costume department being cinched into a corset to fit into what they were going to try to do in the costume. So I did a cartoon of what I thought she looked like. I did it as a movie poster, clueless to the casting of Batgirl. It was a private joke, just the guys in the art department. The joke drawing got out, but Burgard apparently got to keep his job Burgard got to keep his job because he never signed it."
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Me and the guys in the art department, you sound like a bunch of fucking dickheads. Listen to yourself. It was just a joke for me and the guys in the art department.
Yeah.
Go hang.
I know. It's such a weird fucking thing. Did you hear anything in the commentary about that?
No, he was just generally nice about like the commentary doesn't have as much trivia as I was hoping it would. There's a bit more trivia like about from like some of the behind the scenes stuff, but his commentary is mostly like him taking the blame for anything that fans hated and then praising the work of everyone else. Like that's what he does in most of the commentary.
So good.
Or then talks about, oh, that's a reference to here, that's a reference to here.
It's which is perfect. I think I did find a quote of his about that, but can we hear one of your pieces of trivia? I want to hear them.
Where there was a great bit he was talking about how when his assignment for the film, basically, he had to like beg people to do Batman Forever because Batman Returns was such a mixed reception that everyone was kind of, so they had to beg people to get on board for Batman Forever. And then Batman Forever made so much money that then everyone had their fingers in the pie on this one. And it's kind of like the vibe of the film. It's like someone just said yes to every studio note ever.
Yeah.
And one of them, an executive had told him that they wanted it to be more, and the word that he said, I learned a new word, it was toyetic.
Yes, that's what I've got as well. It had to be toyetic.
Toyetic.
It had to be generate as many toys as possible, which is why there's so many gadgets, it's why there's so many vehicles, it's why they change outfits twice.
Oh my
it needed to be that's why there's like 3 villains.
I heard
many toys as
they're
possible.
trying to get back in the McDonald's Happy Meal game after being ousted by the parents.
I think it was Hasbro, if not just at least a toy company, that specifically also consulted on the design of Mr. Freeze's gun as well. That's why it looks so like weirdly oversized. It would make a great toy.
Crazy. And
Yeah.
did a lot of toys get made out of this film?
Oh, a lot of toys got made for all 4 of them.
Yeah, but so like there were toys of like Poison Ivy and Batgirl and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's pretty good.
Yes.
And Mr. Freeze with his
100%.
gun.
Yeah, it's part of what like Jack Nicholson in the first one.
Yeah.
took a reduced pay cut, which for Jack Nicholson is huge.
Yeah.
He's so apparently particular about his pay.
Yeah.
In return for a portion of the, not just the film's gross, but of merchandise.
Oh, wow,
Made
because
it
he knew
so
there
much
would be a
funny.
lot of
Apparently
fucking
he
Happy
made $90
Meals.
million from that
Oh,
deal.
my God.
Holy crap.
Ah.
Here's another one. Uma Thurman felt that, who by the way is one of the only two. I think the only major actor to literally never say I'm really sorry or I didn't have a good time or I shouldn't have done it like that. Uma Thurman felt the campy and farcical tone fit the film, enjoyed the creative license she was given in regards to her character, and credits Batman and Robin as less of a career killer and more of her first real experience with a high budget Hollywood
I
blockbuster.
fucking agree, because she was great in it.
She's
and
great.
I had a great time watching her.
Yep.
Fucking, 25
100%.
years on? I mean, there's nothing she should be ashamed about. Like, she shouldn't have to regret being in this film. It was great. She was great. I'm really defensive about this film now. I really liked it.
You are. Here's another one related to what we were talking about earlier, or rather what Shane brought up earlier. Chris O'Donnell revealed that despite hanging out with Arnold Schwarzenegger a lot offset and during promotion for the film, they never worked a single day together because stand-ins were used whenever the other wasn't available. So basically, like, they were never in shared shots.
But they knew each other. They'd, like, hang out.
Well, yeah, they would, like, after set, they'd be hanging out and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But most of the time, if it wasn't a shot of their face, they weren't there.
It makes sense. I mean, like, every time they see each other, it's over this massive stage set of some bizarre fucking machinery. And
Yeah.
they don't. You never see them side by side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never see them in the same frame.
No.
Or their faces, at least. Shane, did you have another one?
For the Batmobile, the Goodyear designed custom tires that would leave a tread print of bat symbol.
Oh my God.
That's so
And I have a
cool.
photo if you can see.
That
Oh
is
my God.
sick.
That actually is so fucking cool.
So Goodyear did that.
Yeah, Goodyear did
Oh
the tires
my
for it.
God. That is so
oh my
festive.
God. That's
Do they do special releases of the bat tires? I feel like people would go nuts.
No, they did it for the film, but they never actually did it as a release, and that would have been incredible.
I
I mean,
know.
we
I
don't
they
know
have
if it's
to
actually
worry-
road safe.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe they're worried about like safety or traction or whatever, but let us have the bat
It's the
tires.
bat symbol. I love that all of his things are bats because some of them I'm like, that does not work as a bat shape. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way. Like, some of his like grappling hook things, I'm
Yeah.
like, do not make this a bat shape. You're going to die.
They have 5,000 grappling hooks on their bodies, apparently.
Screenwriter Akiva Goldsman, who I think we've come across before.
Doesn't ring
he's-
doesn't ring a
he's
bell.
he's one of the most famous
Yeah.
screenwriters of all time.
Which is part of what's incredible. Like, it's fucking Joel Schumacher, Akiva Goldsman, George
What's
Clooney.
Akiva
like,
Goldsman done? I feel like I don't.
He did a lot of Ron Howard stuff.
Oh.
He's multiple. He's one of the ones who like the Robert McKee story seminar. Kiva Goldman's one of the ones who like made it really popular.
Oh.
Did he? I didn't know that. That's really
A Beautiful
cool.
Mind. A Beautiful Mind.
Beautiful
He wrote, like because Akiva Goldsman did the thing and then sung its praises to everyone in Hollywood, and then everyone in Hollywood started going to Robert McKee, and then it ends up in adaptation where Robert McKee is played by from Succession,
Brian Cox.
Brian Cox.
Yes. Oh wow.
Yeah, which yeah. A Beautiful Mind, iRobot, I Am Legend.
He did the Da Vinci Code,
Did
guys.
the Da Vinci Code.
Whoa. I actually loved that film when I was a kid. Good fun.
So, screenwriter Akiva Goldsman was blamed for ruining the movie. Director Joel Schumacher defended him again. Schumacher defending. Quoting, Akiva Goldsman was blamed for this sort of lightness and humor and fun and games, but that's not fair. I take full responsibility. I mean, Akiva did write the scripts, but I shot it and worked with Akiva. So, if you love a movie, there are hundreds of people who made it lovable for you. If you don't like it, blame the director. That's what our names are there for. Which kind of made me appreciate both him and also like the job of like he really is like, hey man, if you like it, we all made it together, and if you didn't, like, I'm here as the punching bag.
Yeah.
Just blame me.
Joel
Yeah.
Schumacher, man. Great guy.
Shane, did you have another one?
Yes, so Mr. Freeze's costume was supposed to be so secret from the press, and they had so many press people that Arnold Schwarzenegger was transported between the makeup chair and set in like a moving fabric tent.
Yes. It's like the shit they do for Taylor Swift when she's like getting
Yes,
to her fucking
exactly.
venue. That's great.
That's incredible.
I want a moving tent around me at all times.
Here's another one. Director Joel Schumacher first realized that George Clooney would make a good Batman after seeing him in the film From Dusk Till Dawn and drawing the famous cowl over Clooney's face in a newspaper advertisement for it.
Oh, wow.
This fact was unbeknownst to film critic Roger Ebert, who stated on Siskel and Ebert and wrote in his negative review of this film, "I've always suspected that they cast movie Batmans by their chins, which is all you can see when the costume is being worn, and Clooney has the best chin yet."
That's true.
Coincidentally, producer Michael E. Uslan, who I mentioned earlier, was inspired to cast Jack Nicholson as the Joker by taking a newspaper picture of him in The Shining and coloring his face white and giving him red lips.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I know we didn't get much into it in the podcast, but I will in the episode. We're still in the episode. This is it.
You'll do it on the
but
night?
We didn't get into okay, can I start again? I know we didn't get into it much earlier, but George Clooney, I still think he gave very little in this. I wasn't a fan of his performance at all. I didn't think he was he is not a good Bruce Wayne in my opinion.
I thought he was better than
He
Kilmer.
doesn't think he gave a good performance either.
Yeah. I really don't think he did. I feel like, again, the villain stole the show, and I feel like Batman was very lackluster himself.
I thought he was better than Kilmer.
He was a good chin, I will say that.
I think especially I thought he was better than Kilmer, who was fucking asleep in Batman Forever.
Well, you and Shane will have to fight about that. I'm not involved.
And my problem with Batman Returns, the reason I didn't like it as much as Batman, is not enough Bruce Wayne. Whereas in this, I guess I'd been so starved for Bruce Wayne in the last two
Sure,
that I
we
was
had
just like
screen
appreciative.
time of Bruce Wayne, but did we really get any Bruce Wayne? You know what I'm saying? You know, we had quantity. Did we have quality?
We're talking about Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
No,
What?
we didn't have quality.
No,
We
exactly.
had
With
camp.
George
We had
Clooney's
fun.
performance.
We
Yeah.
had fun. I enjoyed his performance. I had a good time.
No, Michelle. No. Keep going.
Producer Peter McGregor Scott, who also his
McGregor syndrome
is named after Peter McGregor Scott.
What a claim to fame.
Also resented the film's emphasis on the merchandising toys, saying, "I feel if you let a filmmaker just make a good movie, you'd sell toys anyway." There's no way on earth I can imagine a producer saying that now.
And to be fair, you couldn't make like a good film like Good Will Hunting. They're not going to fucking make Happy Meal toys out of that, are they? You know, just because it's a good film doesn't mean they're going to make toys.
You have like a little Robin Williams, and it's not your fault.
Yeah,
You
that's
pull
right.
the thing in the back.
little
it's not your fault.
bench.
You squeeze it. Yeah, a little bench.
Collects the whole park scene.
I can't believe his name is really Will Hunting in that.
I know,
That's
it's so stupid.
Why is that?
It's
he's
so
good,
stupid. Okay.
He's good. Will. What does that mean? Whatever, man.
You're good, Will
It's a
Hunting.
great movie.
The movie's fine. I hate the title of it so much.
Man, you're really good,
You're really good.
Will Hunting.
Yeah, so what is that? But also, if he's hunting for goodwill, what does that mean?
I don't know, man.
That's also not what he's doing in the. Well, okay, we don't need to get into goodwill. This episode's so dense.
We do, yeah. We need to keep going.
The film was apparently originally titled Batman Forever, but stylized as Batman 4, as in the number 4, ever, because it is the 4th film in the series. However, because the 4th film already took that title, it was retitled Batman and Robin, which is actually the original title for Batman Forever, which introduced Robin.
I said that in this watch that Batman and Robin felt like a better title for Batman
Yeah.
Forever.
Absolutely. But I do think that Batman Forever is a better title than Batman Forever.
Oh yeah.
Well, especially as it didn't end up being the 4th film. So,
What?
I mean,
This is the 4th film.
no, I mean, sorry. Batman Forever didn't end up being the 4th film.
Oh, sure. But I mean, if that one was called Batman and Robin, because that one should be called Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Then
Well,
this
so
one
is it
would-
more about their relationship, the 3rd film?
It
More about them?
introduces Robin.
Oh,
It's his whole
okay.
origin and everything. This is about Batman
Yeah.
and
And it's whole like he's like the kid. He's like, I hate you, man. And
Yeah.
it's very like about George Clooney letting him in on the whole Batman
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
And Robin finding
Yeah.
a purpose. It's so thematically Batman and Robin.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
Now I'm realizing there's one that I thought I had written down that I hadn't, that I'm going to have to find now, or I'm gonna absolutely fucking shoot someone.
I'll drop one while you're
Oh, yes,
looking.
please.
So the actor who played Bane, his biceps are Guinness World Record biceps. They're like the biggest in the world. He died not long after the movie, presumably from steroids.
Yeah, he died of heart failure, I read.
Oh, no.
Yeah, heart failure, and you're like,
we all know, buddy. We all know. Biggest biceps, you said.
Yeah, they were the Guinness World There were Guinness World Record biceps of some kind. Joel Schumacher said this in the commentary. Coolio in a planned sequel to Batman and Robin before it bombed. Coolio almost played Scarecrow.
Well, that's what I was about to talk about. So originally, no, this is perfect because Coolio's in this. In the street race bit, we briefly see Coolio.
Okay.
Let me get this up on my phone a sec. We briefly see Coolio just with all the what's the word I'm looking for? With all the money and everything. And that was to set up the cancelled sequel because originally they were already planning it and it was going to be called Batman Unchained. Just very silly as a title for Batman. Like Django.
They were going to do that, and they were going to do a Robin spin-off with Chris O'Donnell starring.
Wow.
Which my heart breaks that we did not get that
in a
movie.
better world, you would have gotten that film.
Yes.
The thing is, it was originally going to be Scarecrow, who Cillian Murphy played in Batman Begins. Yeah. And originally, it was actually going to be Nick Cage. As well as through that he would be able to we'd see Jack Nicholson as Joker again and hallucinations and stuff, as well as introduce Harley Quinn, who was apparently going to be portrayed by Courtney Love. And so then later, instead of Nick Cage, it became Coolio. And the idea of George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, Alicia Silverstone, that trio going up against Coolio and Courtney Love, I think that movie would have been on this list. There's no way.
Which one was Coolio?
Scarecrow.
Yeah, weren't you going to just pull it up for me just then?
I just did.
Do you want to know who Coolio is?
Yeah, in the film, you said he was a street racer.
Oh, no. So, when we see Alicia Silverstone go to do the street race and stuff, and then she starts, handing the money to the guy, that's Coolio.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Gangster's Paradise himself. I got two more. Kane Hodder.
Oh.
Our good boy, best known for his playing Jason Voorhees, was actually Joel Schumacher's first choice for Bane. Wow. But Schumacher eventually chose Jeep Swenson. In part,
Jeep Swenson?
Jeep Swenson is his name.
Jeep Swenson meet Chance Pistol.
Jeep Swenson with the biggest biceps in the world. And here's
calling my child Jeep. Jeep Ward.
Jeep Ward.
My other child will be called Blade, and then my third son will be called Fang. Blade, Fang, and Jeep. My three boys. My sons, my beautiful boys.
My beautiful
my
boys.
Sons.
My son. Yeah, Mom. Oh, Blade, my son.
Blade Ward.
Go get your brothers, Jeep and
Fang. Anyway. Fang is my favorite.
You need to call one of them Four.
Yes.
Four Ward.
Well, that'll be the fourth one.
I can't believe Claude didn't take my surname. He would have been Claude Ward.
He would have been Claude Ward.
Yes.
Horrible.
Horrible. It's a crime.
Yeah. I am bereaved.
Shane, did you have any other pieces of trivia?
Only that the entire idea for Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy being the villains came from Joel Schumacher's nephew.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because Joel Schumacher basically resigned himself to do exactly what the studio asked him to do for the movie. It's toyetic, it's family friendly. And so he went to his kid and he said, which are your favorite characters? And he says, my favorite villains are Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy. And so Joel Schumacher bought every comic book, watched the animated show, researched the shit out of them, and that's why they're in the movie. Because he was like, a kid's going to know what a kid wants.
That's really sweet. And it is true. I feel like kids are a great sort of source to go back to when you're like, what do you enjoy? What's fun? I'm trying to make something fun.
They played off each other better than Riddler and Two-Face.
Yeah.
My problem with Two-Face, Tommy Lee Jones
100%.
should have been the straight man with anger problems because he's Two-Face, playing off of crazy Riddler. Instead, they're trying to out Riddler each other, and it's just a lot.
I think Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy was such a great villainous duo. I really enjoyed them. But they only teamed up after the midpoint, after the middle of the film. It took them a while to come together. Anyway.
Here's my last piece of trivia. This is one of 3 movies to feature 2 future United States governors acting in the same film. Jesse Ventura elected governor of Minnesota in 1998, who was one of the prison guards.
That's
And
bizarre.
Arnold Schwarzenegger elected governor of California in 2003. The other two films were Predator and The Running Man, both released in 1987, and all three of them it's about Ventura and Schwarzenegger.
Oh my God. Wait, Ventura, he
Wow.
became a governor in 1998?
Governor of Minnesota. Democratic
next
governor
year.
of...
God, I had a packed 2 years.
How did I not notice
That's
that was the year
bizarre.
after?
They're like, we loved you in Batman and Robin, please. You know what's going to strengthen your campaign for governor in Minnesota?
Was he already on the trail when this was released?
He must have been.
Who advised him? Did he go rogue, or was someone like, I think this would be a
I
great
mean, he's
strategy?
a former pro wrestler as well.
That's so bizarre. I love it.
This is like if The Rock and Stallone were both elected governor in a few years. Like, it's just...
Can you imagine The Rock? Have The Rock and Stallone ever been cast in the same movie together?
I don't think so.
Can you imagine that pairing?
Because I don't think The Rock has ever been in one of those Expendables movies. The
Yeah.
ones that have every action person.
Dude, I feel like if there was just a film called like Sly versus The Rock, people would pay to see it.
Yeah.
Just be them beating each other up.
Have you seen Jason Statham? Like, he doesn't need... It's just Jason Statham is in it. There's one called The Beekeeper.
I've heard about The Beekeeper.
That's not a serious name for an action movie. You can't tell me that that's like, I got a real pitch for, like, that's like, what's a job? Beekeeper? Sure, get Statham to do it.
Apparently, there's quite the number of bee puns in
Oh, okay. I'm all punned out from this film, though, to be fair. I've had my share.
Not featuring any buzz. You guys want to hear some trivia?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Reviews!
I just said trivia. Do you guys want to hear some reviews?
Yeah, you said you guys want to hear some trivia. I'm like, so we just rewind and go back and...
IMDb trivia!
We're stuck forever.
Now I have to do it.
It's a loop.
IMD Boss Baby decrees.
No, Boss Baby, no. All right. So this movie has 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. We're still in the 3.7s. Roger Ebert, the Chicago Sun-Times, said, wonderful to look at, although it had nothing authentic at its core, and criticized its toyetic approach.
Toyetic.
Meanwhile, Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune called it a sniggering, exhausting, overproduced extravaganza,
Rude.
which I actually think is not wrong. Even
No.
like it is
No.
an
It's not exhausting.
extravaganza.
Yeah, it's an extravaganza in a sleigh way.
Again, I
alright?
enjoyed it. I was a little exhausted. I think if I was with like friends or at the theaters or drinking, I wouldn't. But just me in my house
Just-
at like 10 in the
You
morning, I
just
was a
don't
little
understand
tired.
fun. You just don't understand fun. And that's okay.
You're right, Abby. I don't understand fun. Only you understand fun.
Thanks.
Damn it, she got me.
Just double down.
All right, here's an IMDb review titled "I Love This Film" by R_Mockanu. Ice to meet you, cry laugh emoji, laugh really hard emoji, cry laugh emoji. My life wouldn't be the same without this film. I think I would cry if I could never see this film again. Life changing. Poised ivy is very hot. I would be happy if I could to have some bat skates, and I don't think I would ever be sad again if I could just get the bat credit card. I would kiss Lucen Ivy even if it killed me. Batman and Robin has made my childhood and molded to be the man I am today. A tragic story of Mr. Freeze. He is just a poor man trying desperately to save the life of his beautiful wife. He is not a villain, just a misunderstood soul. I'm a villain, not a monster.
Whoa.
10 out of 10.
Whoa, what?
This is the
The ice skates were so good. That whole like hockey sequence for no
playing
reason.
hockey with a giant diamond.
10 out of 10.
Fucking awesome.
That was good.
Here's another one titled Part 4 is Better Than Part 2. I'm assuming referring to Batman Returns. By Jacob John Taylor 1. Establishing dominance all over the other Jacob John Taylors. Okay, so I like all the Batman movies. I'm tired of how underrated this movie it is. It is the fourth Batman movie. And I guess the first one and third one, Batman Forever, are a little bite better. But still, this is a great movie. Better than the second one, Batman Returns. And it is better than the last three. Chris O'Donnell is the best Rodin. Sorry. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the best Mr. Freeze. Alicia Silverstone is the best Batgirl. George Clooney is great as Batman. Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer were great too. Uma Thurman is great as Poison Ivy. Jeep SWEN Jeep SWENSON is the best Ben. Oh, Bane, right. But they wrote Ben. This is great movie. Great acting, great storyline, great visual effects. Joel SCHUM HER is a genius. See this movie, see all the Batman movies. 10 out of 10.
So were they spelling them out with a space between every letter or a dash?
A dot.
A dot.
So like almost as if to turn it into an acronym.
Wow. What an effort for no reason.
I know. And with no like Clooney and Kilmer, but not Keaton.
And then Uma for the first name, and then went back to the surnames.
Here's another one titled "For the Glorious Movie Critics" by Juno-47177. Give it a break. This movie isn't bad. You were just expecting too much. This is not Les Miserables, people. It's supposed to be comical. It's a childhood character, so don't put your adulting to it. 10 out of 10.
Don't say adulting.
Well,
Don't say that.
Hey, man, it's not Les Miserables. And here's the last one titled LMAO by Carlo Vanderveerle 97939. The picture of Poison Ivy and Bane on the airport is a 10 on itself. 10 out of 10. Hard agree. You know, when we see the shot of like we found this picture of them sneaking into the country, and it's Poison Ivy in like a big coat and a Bane in like a big trench coat and a hat, but still wearing the mask.
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect shot.
It's a funny
so
film.
funny, so good.
It's a funny film.
Just absolute perfection. You know what? I'm going to start. Shane, what's your review?
My review will be a little bit long-winded, but I'll try and keep it short. I think the only thing in this movie that has truly aged is the R. Kelly ballad called Gotham City that plays during the credits.
Oh, yeah.
It's bad, and it's R. Kelly.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I mean, that's to say nothing of the Smashing Pumpkins song that was nominated for a Grammy in this. And I didn't know Kiss from a Rose was written for the Batman Forever credits.
No way.
It's not even the first song in the credits.
No
it's the
way.
second one.
Yeah.
What an iconic song.
It's great. This was the era when soundtracks were so sellable on movies that
Yeah.
everything.
It was important to get a good song in, yeah.
Anyway, continue on.
So from the opening line, which is like chicks dig the car, and it's stupid and it's silly, and it's because this whole movie is making fun of all of the straight machismo of this like genre of the comic books, of the all of that masculinity sort of stuff, because that's how people, like, we laugh at those lines now, but that's literally how dudes spoke then. Oh yeah. Dig the car, you know. And it was so silly and so hammy and so cartoonish and so out loud and so gay, so gay. If I was like judging this just on its film terms, I'd probably say, because, you know, I think it's better than Ultraviolet, and I think I gave Ultraviolet like a 7 when I was on that episode. So this is at least an 8. But then it gets bumped up to a 9 because it turned me gay.
Yes.
And then, I just want to quote, there was a quote because there's a writer named Anthony Oliviero who, when Joel Schumacher passed away, he kind of wrote a little obit. And I just have to quote it here because it was so beautiful. It says, "At a moment when straight cinema wanted grim and grimy and gritty, Joel Schumacher made vibrant, beautiful candy box movies, and they never forgave him for it. I'm so glad we had his ferocity and his absolute refusal to tone it down. Making queer people feel seen and straight people feel uncomfortable. What a legacy to aspire to." And so for the
When
honor
did he
of Joel
die?
Schumacher, it gets another point, and it's a perfect 10 out of 10 for me.
When did Joel Schumacher die?
Not long after he made the number 23. I think it was like late 2010s, mid 2010s.
Oh, okay. Oh.
2020.
2020.
Oh, that's such a shame. That's beautiful. That's really lovely.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing, is like all of the things that piss people off about this movie is it's all the things straight people got really mad about. That queer people were like, ooh, like queer people love Uma Thurman. Like the gay men love Uma Thurman in this. The gay men love Chris O'Donnell in this. The gay men love the nipple suit.
Yeah.
You know, all of the things that people hate are the things that were like just capital G gay. And so it has to be a 10
Yes.
out of 10 for that.
Camp,
Hell yeah.
camp. It was unashamedly camp.
Abby, what about you?
Look,
I'm so glad I asked Shane to go first, so that now there's a lot of peer pressure around your score.
I know. Well, the thing is, honestly, I enjoyed this film so much. I was coming in with a pretty strong 7.5 out of 10.
Nice.
Because I really enjoyed it. Uma was great. Arnie was great. The costumes were fantastic.
Costumes
the
were my
jokes were
favorite
funny.
part, I think.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I feel like this is the first Batman film I really watched and was like, I get why people really enjoyed these comics as well. Like I feel like it made me understand something about Batman and why people like it for the first time. Like don't get me wrong, I liked the Nolan films, but I never really felt like they came from the comics in a way. Like they don't feel related. But this felt like the Batman old comic world, and I got it and I enjoyed it. Loved the vibe, loved the energy. But Shane, I'll go up a bit. I'll go up to 8.10, 8 out of 10, because the more I've learned about Joel Schumacher, the more I love him and appreciate what he did with this film. So an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, look, I think I was the one. I think I've come into this episode the least enthusiastic, not disliking, but least enthusiastic. I think part of that is I've just been watching through all of them, and I was just surprised by how good the Burton ones were. But also coming off the back of Batman Forever, both as like I thought I liked this more, but also of I'm a little exhausted. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of being just tired this week. It was maybe a bit much again for like 10 a.m. in the morning.
Hey, maybe this is your Taxi, where I was unfair towards Taxi because I was in a bad mood.
Well, what I was going to say is I also watched this less than a year ago, and I think any movie that I would watch twice within 1 year is worthy. I was coming in going like, maybe I'll give it like a 5. And then as we're talking about it, I'm like, it kind of is like a 6. And then I was going to give it like a 7. I don't know if I can do a full 8, but 7.8? Nah, 8. I'll just do it. I'll just do it. It's an 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10. You're right, Nishin, you're right. The queerness and Joel Schumacher, it's an 8. Yeah.
It's a great
looking at
film.
it as a movie, I do think, like, for me, I think the best of the Batman movies, controversially, I actually think Batman Returns is the best one.
Fair.
Ooh.
But, like, just as a movie, but Batman and Robin represent so many things outside of just the text that elevates it, which I think is part of it.
Yeah, fully. Absolutely.
Is this the first time that our guest has given a higher rating than us? Because usually we go really high.
I don't think it is the first
I mean,
time.
I definitely gave the
think-
highest rating of Ultraviolet out of the three of us.
Yeah,
True.
I was going to say, I think
True.
that was actually the first time.
Our standards were higher then, though, Michelle. So that does check out.
That's also true.
We were harder to please. Well, how long was it? Like Shane, like 2 years, 3 years ago?
Yeah,
Like,
like 2.5
not
years
that
ago.
It was definitely while I was in this
Really?
apartment, and I've only been in this apartment for 2 and a bit years.
Maybe 2 years
Yeah.
then.
I think 2 years.
Yeah.
It feels like a lifetime ago because, you know,
So much
not only
has
a lot has happened, but
happened.
like 100 movies have happened recently.
Yeah. A lot of movies.
We've really watched so many
Really,
movies
and
through
we're
this.
still here and we're still doing it every week for Shane.
I
alone.
watched 4 movies this week. And that's not all of like for this, just for
That's a
this
slow week
podcast,
for me.
man.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I watch that many movies, but to do it for the podcast,
Right,
you know, it's still
4
not,
movies
it's
that
still
you
not
know
beating,
are going to be of questionable quality.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still no Police Academy, or I watched all 6 of those in 2 days.
Oof.
That was tough. That was tough.
That was too much.
Yeah,
It was too
yeah.
much. And I had a guest come over and stay in my house while I was watching 2 of those movies.
Who was that?
I don't remember.
What?
I don't remember, but someone was staying at my house and just had to deal with me watching Police Academy 5 and 6. Right. Well, you know, hey, that's what we thought about Batman and Robin. Isn't that great? But
Hey.
you know where else we have thoughts though? All sorts of social media. You can find us on X at Rate Descend Pod. You can find us on TikTok at Rating Descending, or you can email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com. Love the emails.
Or you could find us on our personal accounts. You can't really find me, but Shane, where can people find you?
You can find
on
me
your
on
personal
a lot
account?
of places. I will use this moment to plug. I have a podcast that I would love for
Yes.
people to listen to. It's called One Season Wonders, and in it I go into the production and broadcast history of television shows that got cancelled after 1 season or less.
Oh,
And
love
then I
it.
interview the
It's really great.
Thank you. And then I interview people involved in it. I've interviewed an Emmy winner. I've interviewed a guy who produced Doctor Who. I'm super lucky, but I think it's half the time these shows are the ones that they really loved, but then for whatever reason they didn't take off, and so they're really passionate about it, but no one wanted to talk about it. And so they're like, yeah, I'll
That
give you
sounds
20 minutes.
amazing.
And so I've talked to a guy, I talked to the creator of Cougar Town, I talked to an Emmy winner from Everybody Loves Raymond, an editor. I have so much fun doing it, and it's exactly the podcast I wanted to make. It's called One Season Wonders. You can find us on Instagram, One Season Pod, or Twitter at One Season Pod. There's a couple of shows with the same title, but mine's like the big orange one, and it should be newer. So it'll be like hopefully higher up on the search functions. And you can find me I'm on Twitter at Shane_M_Anderson. I'm still kind of on there, regrettably. And I'm on Instagram at, it's 24 frames, but instead of a T, it's the number 2. So 24 frames, if that helps. And yeah, that's where you can find me. Listen to the pod. I'm really proud of it, and I'd love more listeners.
Oh my God,
Everyone really should
I
listen to
really
it.
want to listen to that. I'm sorry, you said Cougar Town as in the Courtney Cox show Cougar Town?
Yeah, Courtney Cox starring Cougar Town.
What?
So Kevin Beagle, the
My
creator of
God.
that, and he was also a writer on Scrubs and South Park, and he's done a whole bunch of stuff. And he co-created with, co-showrunned a show called Enlisted. It's our first episode. It's legitimately like one of the best one-season comedies. It's like a military comedy, which doesn't sound like it's good comedy, but it's legitimately like, if you like Community, Parks and Rec, that kind of style, Enlisted is fantastic. And it was our first episode because it's like one of my favorite shows, just period. And so I was like, yes, this has got to be number one. And I got to interview both of them at the same time, and it was genuinely like a total blast. I'm so
Magical.
so shocked. We've got a couple of cool episodes. I'm hopefully going to be speaking with like a genuine like legend of television. If I got to finish his show, and then there's a show. A lot of the shows are unfortunately like, no one watched it and it got cancelled, and that's why there's no more episodes. But there's a show that was like the number one hit on its network, and it got cancelled because it pissed the wrong people off. And so hopefully I can get that. It's hard to write the episodes because the shows got cancelled, and so no one writes about them because no one thought they were worth right. So I got to Frankenstein the history together from like the most disparate one sentence mentions in like a press release.
It's also a good way to get their attention because they're like, wait, you want to talk to me about the show that didn't get made? Fuck
100%,
yeah.
100%. I got to even talk to a guy, a producer from Doctor Who, and he's produced Luther, and there was a Doctor Who spin-off, which was our latest episode called Class, which is sort of like a Buffy, but in the Doctor Who universe. And the producer was just the nicest guy, absolute nicest guy. It's genuinely like really fulfilling making this show. So
Oh, that's really amazing.
hopefully people...
Everyone go listen to that. But also, you can find me. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at michelle.stclair. You can find me on Letterboxd now at mstclair. And also, as always, please go stream Unerased on Instagram at -18youth or on TikTok at unerased.tv. No Ordinary Love on YouTube at No Ordinary Love Series. You can now check out the trailer for Shippers at Shippers the Series on YouTube and Instagram. Also, go listen to One Season Wonders. That's my
And I've got a short
Do it.
film doing some festival runs at the moment that Michelle was a colorist on. She's a whiz, and she just colored the new one.
Aw.
And like, I literally, this is a total sidebar, and the episode is running so long. There's a shot of a blue cloth sailing over the camera, and I was like, can you just tweak? I just want that blue to be a bit punchy. And then I got the shot back, and I see the shot, and I went, ugh. Like I made like an involuntary mouth noise at just this beautiful blue just sailing over, and that's all Michelle's wizardry. So hopefully that'll play at a festival near you. It's a couple of little horror shorts, so keep an eye out for them.
Oh, shucks. I'm going to keep all that in.
And don't forget to leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. It really makes a difference.
Episode's so long. Well, that was Batman and Robin. Abby, what are we watching next week? Oh, fuck's sake.
You don't know either? Next week, we're watching Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Wow. Have you ever seen the old Superman movies?
I mean, I like Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, I saw the
assume
original
he's
when I was a
still-
They're
kid.
good.
Superman in this film.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Well, I mean, apparently this one
No,
isn't.
no.
I gotta watch 4 Superman movies next week.
Look, I know we're running this is a long episode, but there was this one morning that I was reading about Christopher Reeves and how he broke his back, and then I was thinking about what would happen if Claude fell off a horse and broke his back, and how I would stand by him. And when he woke
This
up,
is how we're ending
I
this
was
episode?
crying.
So
I
long.
was crying in bed next to him, and he
You're
was like,
telling
"Why
us
are you
about your
crying?"
dream?
And I was
We're 2 hours into the
okay, what
episode. It's your dream.
Finish it then.